Welcome to Teeny Tiny Kitchen Cooking. Today we're going to be making some mini chungoon, otherwise known as mini spring rolls. As you can see, we've got all our ingredients here, and I'm going to commence by starting to make the mince filling for our spring rolls. So in my spring rolls, I actually like to put a little bit of garlic and a little bit of ginger. Not too much, just a teeny tiny amount, just so that the spring rolls can have a little bit of extra flavour. I'm not a fan of not having flavour in food, so we're going to start with a tiny little bit of garlic. Since my previous video, I've actually, very excitedly, sharpened my tiny little knife. I'll just put the garlic in the bowl, just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work with a little bit of ginger as well. Not too much, ginger is very strong, but it does taste very good if you just add the right amount. And because we're making teeny tiny food, the right amount is a teeny tiny little bit of ginger. By the way, I'm going to give you a heads up. I have a very, very exciting surprise at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned. If you're a lover of cuteness, oh my gosh, something very, very cute is coming. Okay, then what we need to do is we need to get our mince. So we're going to be using a mixture of beef and pork mince. I like to use a little bit of beef and a little bit of pork mince because just using plain beef just doesn't quite cut it. Same as if you just use plain pork. Just doesn't quite cut it in my opinion. Whereas this creates a really, really nice mixture of flavours. And as you heard me say, flavour is not optional in the teeny tiny cooking kitchen. Okay, so now that we've got our pork mince in here and we've got our garlic and we've got our ginger, we are going to start to add some extra flavours. So again, we want flavour, people. We don't want cute little food with no flavour. So we're going to work with a little bit of siao or soy sauce. And just going to open this little guy up. And we're going to just put a tiny little drop in here. Not too much, because with spring rolls, the flavour really comes from frying. Oil adds an incredible amount of flavour to food. Shame it's not so great for us all the time, but anyway. So we've got our soy sauce. And then what we're going to do is we're also going to add a tiny little bit of olive oil to this as well. Not too much. Beautiful. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our other seasonings. So we've got some salt, which of course adds an incredible amount of flavour to food. So we're just going to get a little bit of salt out of here. I think that should be enough for this tiny little thing. Maybe a little bit too much, we'll put that back. And then also just a tiny, tiny little bit of sugar too. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then I'm also going to add just a tiny little bit of potato starch as well. Now, the potato starch acts as sort of like a thickening agent, a little bit like corn flour. And when we're cooking our mince, it'll release a little bit of liquid from the meat itself, but also the oil. And we want to just thicken it ever so slightly, not a great deal. And we're just going to let that marinate for a little while, just over here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to begin to work on chopping up some veggies. So we have a teeny tiny little cabbage. Is it really a cabbage, or is it maybe a teeny tiny little Brussels sprout that just looks like a cabbage? I think it's a Brussels sprout that looks like a cabbage, but shh, Don't tell anyone. We're trying to make everything so cute. Okay, so we're just going to cut this little guy. Oh, he's a firm one. And then we're just going to, I think that'll be enough actually. Then what we're going to do is we're going to just ever so finely we're going to shred up this little cabbage or Brussels sprout. Play along. Let's pretend he's cabbage, shall we? I'm just going to pop that in there. And we're going to just finely chop this little cabbage. Or maybe this little Brussels sprout. So now we've got our mince, we've got our cabbage. I'm actually going to move on to making our sweet and sour sauce. So there's not a lot of veggies that go in sweet and sour sauce, but we're going to work with this just tiny little capsicum. I'm going to cut him up. And just have a couple of tiny little red pieces. And then we're also going to have a tiny little bit of pineapple. A teeny tiny little piece of pineapple, in fact. Cut this little guy. So there's some veggies for our sweet and sour sauce. So as you can see, we've prepped all our ingredients now. And we are now going to move towards making our sweet and sour sauce. So we're going to use our tiny little saucepan here. And we are going to get our little flame working. And we're going to light our little flame here so we can start our cooking. And what we're going to do here is we're going to not have our wok for the sweet and sour sauce. We're actually going to have a little cooktop. I love it. It's very cute. Okay, so sweet and sour sauce is fun. It's actually pretty simple, and I think when you make it at home, it's much nicer than what you get from the Chinese restaurant. No offense, Chinese restaurant people, but you want to start with some sugar. Just a little bit more. That looks like enough. White vinegar. And we want to make sure we get the right balance of flavour here. Ooh, you hear that? So plenty of white vinegar in there. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to pop it all in on this. And then the other fun thing that we put in there is a little bit of tomato sauce. This is a challenge, isn't it? Not going to work. All right, but don't worry. We have another little spoon here. This one goes with the ketchup as well. Colour-wise, of course. You don't want too much. That gives it a perfect little colour and just a nice little flavour. And also I think it needs just a little bit of water as well, just to balance out the flavours a little bit. We need to sort of create a little bit of a reduction. So similar to like when you're making like a sauce for your meat, or perhaps if you're making a caramel, but we don't want it to go caramelized. You want the vinegar and the water to evaporate a little bit, and that's why we bring it to a boil. And we want that sugar to fully dissolve. But as I'm looking at it, the color doesn't look 100% right to me. So what you'll notice about my teeny tiny cooking is that I am quite an experimental chef. I don't follow recipes, so please don't ask me for a recipe. I mean, let's be honest, if you did, I'd probably write it knowing me. But I'm not a recipe person at all. Never really have been. In fact, whenever I follow a recipe, I don't know, it just doesn't taste right. and I end up mucking around and putting my own twist on things. And I cook with my senses, so I do lots of observation with my eyes, and then I also do lots and lots of taste testing. So our teeny tiny sweet and sour sauce is going quite nicely at the moment, as it's just bubbling away. Bubble, bubble, bubble. And what we're going to need to do is we're actually going to probably need to put a little bit of potato starch in it to just thicken it a tiny little bit, because I think it's probably not going to reduce quite the way I would like it to. So this is tiny, right? So cute. We are going to get some potato starch and water. Gonna mix it with water and just be very quick to just thicken it. Very quick. Sometimes with thickeners you just gotta wait a minute or two just to let it really activate. That's actually beautiful. You wouldn't want it any thicker than that, in fact. Otherwise this tiny teeny spring roll, when you pop him in, will get a little bit stuck. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our ingredients in, which was a little bit of pineapple and a little bit of capsicum, and that just gives the sweet and sour sauce a really, really nice flavour. We're going to realise that that's probably a little too hot for me to hold. Oh no, it's okay. This is going to be where we're dipping our teeny tiny mini spring rolls in our lovely little sweet and sour sauce. Ah, this looks absolutely teeny tiny delicious. We are now going to be making the filling for our spring rolls. So we'll get our little wok guy on there. We'll get him moving. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit of olive oil here, and we're just going to just make sure this pan's getting nice and hot before you put your oil in. For those of you who are cooking novices, you don't put oil in a cold pan, otherwise everything's going to stick. It's feeling pretty toasty. Alright, so then we're going to put a little bit of olive oil in, and then if I have estimated this correctly, sometimes it's good to see if you can get a little bit of smokage coming off the wok. Can't quite see it yet. It feels pretty good. So we're just going to put a little bit of olive oil in, and hopefully, oh perfect, would you look at that? Do you see the little bubbling action? And then quickly, you want to just get your wok nice and seasoned and nice and oiled, so that when we get that mince in there, it's gonna be awesome, people. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I don't know why it's so cute cooking so small. Oh, listen to the teeny tiny. Okay, so we don't want to turn this into a little hamburger patty, so we've got to work really hard and fast and quick. We've got to make sure all this mince is really broken up. And then, see how we're doing this? We're just breaking it up, breaking it up, breaking it up, breaking it up, turning it into teeny tiny little bits of it. Oh, this teeny tiny sizzle in my teeny tiny wok. What I'm going to do is I am going to taste a teeny tiny little bit of this mince. We want it to be seasoned very nicely. Perfect. Couldn't ask for more perfect seasoning. Well done. Well done, teeny tiny chef. Well done. Okay, then we want to get our teeny tiny little bit of cabbage in there. And then if you need to add a little bit of more moisture, you can add things like stock if you're cooking with stock, or you can add just a little bit of water, and that actually just helps to keep the moisture in your food without overdoing the oil. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. I don't know what it is about small things that are so cute with a little bit of water. that-ish. Make sure you don't add too much water because it releases a fair bit of water when you're cooking it as well. So if you're going to be adding water like I've been doing, just do it very gently. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I'm going to make sure we get all of that in there. So these teeny tiny little spring rolls. This is great. We are done with our cooking. So everyone's used to mini spring rolls, but teeny tiny mini spring rolls, that's like a whole nother level. Now, we're just gonna move this over to the side. So I've got my spring roll wrappers here, as you can see. And we're going to just unwrap these. And do you know where I got these teeny tiny little spring roll wrappers from? I got them from the Teeny Tiny shop. That's a lie. I cut up normal size ones and turn them small. Oh, so much fun. Okay, we're gonna start by getting a little bit of this filling. Oh my gosh, let's do this thing. Okay, I think that's enough filling. It's just, can we wrap him? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, you got this. You got this. Oh, need to have a little bit of water there just to seal him, you know? Okay, we can do this. I think it's gonna work. Thank goodness. Spring roll pastry is not like rice paper. Oh my gosh. I made him. I love him. So now we're gonna make a few more. Okay, we're gonna make a few more. Okay, don't overcommit with the filling. You want the flavour, but crikey, that one is just gonna explode. It's a little bit stressful. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You have a friend, a teeny tiny little friend. Oh. I can't wait to see them cooking in the oil. It's going to be so exciting. I'm curious about the fascination with teeny tiny things. What is the psychology behind it? Do we all want to be kids still? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. Oh gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Ah, cute. This is so cute. Ah. Second wow, little wow. So cute. So if you guys are going to follow the channel, I would love it because, you know, I love cooking for people. And if you're going to follow the channel, like, I'm going to get some extra stuff. Like, I want to get a little oven, but I don't know. I'm thinking I might make my own oven. I'm not sure. I made this little table. He's so cute. And I made my little kitchen back in here. I had a lot of fun doing that. And then I made all my little sauce bottles and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're going to subscribe and stay tuned, that'll be awesome because then you can come on the journey with me as I grow my little kitchen. What I'm actually known for is my baking. So oh my gosh, do I love to bake. So I bake for my nieces and nephews, and I bake for my staff. Everybody gets birthday cake, and I'm planning on Yes, making some teeny tiny cakes. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. So I will be making some cakes. Follow along, subscribe to my channel and wait with anticipation for a teeny tiny detailed cake. So we've got some canola oils. So again, we're just gonna wait for our little wok to heat up. I'm just testing the heat, waiting. Oh, in fact, what I can do is I'll get a teeny tiny little bit of paper towel, because once you fry, what you want to do is you want to put some paper towel down to absorb the oil. Oh yeah, perfect. But when you're about to fry, you want to make sure the oil gets hot enough that you can fry. Sometimes you get that little see if you can zoom in there and see how it's got those little lines running through it. That sort of is indicative of the fact that that oil is pretty warm and pretty good to fry. But the other thing that you can do is you can get like a little toothpick or something like that, and then you can pop him in here and you see the teeny tiny little bubbles. That tells us he's ready for frying. Ready for action. Okay. Are you ready for this? This is the moment of cuteness. Okay, let's go. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay, everybody calm down, okay. Oh no, the little guy, he broke. What's happened? This is a crisis. No! Oh my gosh, I'm so heartbroken right now. I don't even know what to do. I bet you my husband who films this is going to put this blooper on. The devastation is so real. This little guy is going okay. I've got to get all these bits out. Now, you know what happened there, peeps? Something did not work with the sealing of the little spring rolls. But to be honest, I think it could have also been with my excitement. I forgot to put them down, like the seal down. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry guys if you saw the disappointment because my husband put it in the video. Oh my gosh, so you can see where the seal is. You really want that to be face down. Oh, what the, it was face down that time. Okay, this is a bit of a crisis, but it's all right, I can circumvent the crisis. Oh my gosh. Here he comes. Oh my heavens. I love you, you little chungoon. My heavens, you're so cute. Notice the seal. For some reason, it's just coming undone and I don't like it. We're actually going to hold him on the bottom of the pan until he's fried up. And there's no chance of that little sucker coming undone. Notice it's working. Okay. I'm going to have to do the same for this little guy too. Oh my gosh. Good work, little chungoon. Here he comes. Our final little chungoon. Oh. Maybe not everyone's like me, but I really, really love, like with all of my heart, seeing something regular size and then the mini version of it. And so before I made these teeny tiny mini spring rolls, I just made some standard mini spring rolls. And so now what we have is mini spring rolls and teeny tiny mini spring rolls. Oh my gosh, it just makes my heart so happy to see. So here's a normal mini spring roll, and here's a teeny tiny. Still a little hot. So let's taste. Okay, so we're going to dip him in our little sweet and sour sauce, and then oh my goodness. Seriously guys, he's great. He really is great. Tiny little bit more salt maybe, but pretty damn close. Sorry, I just double dipped. Yeah, he's awesome. And that sweet and sour sauce has got a nice kick of vinegar to it. So if you liked our video, Please like or subscribe to see what's coming next. I have a full menu, but I don't want to ruin the surprises. So, again, mini spring roll. Teeny tiny mini spring roll.